Welcome to the episode of That Scene. If you go looking for people's thoughts about Christopher Reeve's performance as Superman, one thing you'll read over and over is that he looked like he stepped off the pages of the comic books and into the real world. Directed by Richard Donner, and starring Christopher Reeve as Superman, Margot Kidder as Lois Lane, and Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. The film serves as an origin story for Superman, detailing his birth on the doomed planet Krypton, and his subsequent years growing up on Earth with his adoptive parents Jonathan and Martha Kent. Before discovering his true origins, and donning the mantle of Superman. The film revolves around a plan by Lex Luthor to launch a missile to destroy the state of California and Superman's attempts to stop him. The film was released on December 10, 1978, and was a massive success both financially and critically. With the success of the first Superman movie, the decision was made to finish and release a sequel to the movie. A good deal of the movie was already completed, as much of it had been shot back-to-back with the first Superman movie. Richard Donner ultimately decided not to return to the project, citing issues the direction the film was being taken with the film's producers. Richard Lester was brought in to direct the movie instead. Richard Donner would go on to releasing his own cut version of the film many years later. The film brings back much of the original cast, and revolves around Superman stopping the villainous Zod.
You are not the president. No one who leads so many could possibly kneel so quickly.
General? Would you care to step outside?
Zod was shown being imprisoned into the Phantom Zone in the opening scene of the first film, but escapes in the second film. The second Superman film was released on June 19, 1981, and was again a critical and financial success.
I believe this is your floor.
Directed by Richard Lester, the third Superman film revolves around Superman's attempt to stop a plan created by a man named Ross Webster to control the world's oil supply. The film was less successful than the first two Superman movies.
What can I do to help?
Not much of anything now.
If only you'd got here a minute sooner.
Many fans of the series complained that there was too much emphasis on comedy, and the villains were too weak. The film was released June 17, 1983, although it was not met with as much success both critically and financially as the first two films. In Christopher Reeve's final film performance as Superman in a feature film, the film revolves around Superman as he must stop a clone of himself named Nuclear Man who was created by Lex Luthor.
Welcome home, Nuclear Man. Your father's happy to see you.
The movie was not well received by either the general public or movie critics. Some critics considered the film to be one of the worst of its year. The movie suffered from poor sound and visual effects. The film was a failure both financially and critically, and was the last major Superman movie for almost 20 years. The film was released on July 24, 1987. Ignoring the events of both Superman 3 and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, the film was directed by Bryan Singer, and stars Brandon Routh as Clark Kent and Superman, Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor, and Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane. The film revolves around Superman as he returns to Earth after 5 years, after being in space to find the remains of the planet Krypton.
Taxi!
Superman comes back to Earth to find that Lois Lane has moved on and has a fiancé, as well as a child of theirs. Superman must stop Luthor from completing his plan to destroy both him and the world. The film was released on June 28, 2006. A reboot of the Superman movie franchise, this film once again serves as an origin story for Superman with Henry Cavill, starring as the Man of Steel.
Is to keep testing your limits.
Directed by Zack Snyder, who also directed 300 and Watchmen.
I will find him!
Michael Shannon was cast as Superman's nemesis, Zod in the film, and Amy Adams was cast as Superman's love interest, and Daily Planet reporter Lois Lane. The script was written by David Goyer, and produced by Christopher Nolan, director of the Dark Knight trilogy.
I'm Batman.
The film was released on June 14, 2013. A sequel to the 2013 Man of Steel, Henry Cavill is set to reprise his role as Superman, Clark Kent, alongside Ben Affleck as Batman Bruce Wayne, and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman Diana Prince.
Boys, Bruce Wayne meets Clark Kent. I love it. I love bringing people together.
Jesse Eisenberg has been cast as Superman's arch-nemesis Lex Luthor, and Amy Adams is also set to reprise her role as Lois Lane. Fearing the actions of a godlike superhero unchecked, Gotham City's own formidable, forceful vigilante takes on Metropolis's most revered, modern-day savior. While the world wrestles with what sort of hero it really needs. And with Batman and Superman at war with each other, a new threat quickly arises, putting mankind in greater danger than it has ever known before. The film was released on March 25, 2016.
Late, says the White Rabbit.
Fueled by his restored faith in humanity, and inspired by Superman's selfless act, Bruce Wayne enlists the help of his newfound ally, Diana Prince, to face an even greater enemy.
It was the end of the world.
Invasion.
Together, Batman and Wonder Woman work quickly to find and recruit a team of metahumans to stand against this newly awakened threat. But despite the formation of this unprecedented League of Heroes, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg and The Flash, it may already be too late to save the planet from an assault of catastrophic proportions. Directed by Zack Snyder, this marks the big screen debut of the Justice League, featuring an all-star lineup: Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller and Ray Fisher. The film was released on November 17, 2017. Thank you for taking the time to watch another episode of That Scene. Please be sure to hit that thumbs up button, comment, and subscribe.